The war has been devastating. Ashes and rubble bury cities deep below. Mankind created machines that were horrifying to aid their selfish attempts at winning a war. The air turns thick with a distinct smell of iron and smoke. The world will never truly recover from this, if it even sees the daylight. Okay, let me just step back for a second because I am starting this video too crazy. Ultrakill has a lot of cool details and things that I want to talk about, especially in the quote-unquote final war, end quote. The implications of that, if you will. For example, V1 is fueled by blood. Even if V1 decided to, let's just say, go vegan or become a pacifist, he would still just end up dying. In fact, blood isn't a renewable source last time I checked. V1 will eventually run out. So V1 went from, a killing machine that goes on killing sprees, the V1 that we know and love, to a machine that only kills because it has to, because, it was programmed to do that. It doesn't have morals, it doesn't have a brain. It just does whatever was programmed. But, I still have sympathy for V1, we all love him. We all love V1. At the end of the day, he has to keep doing what he's doing, or else, he will perish. Also, V2 is powered by blood fuel too, but doesn't get it by fighting or, going in big battles and absorbing it in mid-combat. Humans refueled V2. So either V2 is doing the same thing as V1 by just slaughtering everything and then collecting the blood samples, or V2 grew sentience over where and how to fuel up. Or, it could just be that, the fueling process isn't that complicated and, humans don't have to be there for V2 to get fueled up, or maybe it already was programmed to do it itself. But either way, V2 is kind of a smug guy. Also, does V1 have sentience? No. Yeah, that's it. It's no. V1 doesn't have sentience. It's a robot. Also, from Christianity, we know that the flood happened because of God not really wanting the world to be filled with evil people. However, in this universe, God left. He straight up dipped. Now, we don't know when this happened, but I am assuming this happened before the birth of Christ or Moses, because they were really, they had strong connections with God. I don't think God would just leave them there, especially Jesus Christ. I mean, you have to think about, in Christianity, everything that happened. I don't think God would leave after that. This kind of explains why humans were just so dumb that they invented the war machines that ended up killing themselves. So, we know that God left and everything, and know that if we take into consideration that the evil people remained, and the history stayed the same. I think we're the bad guys. Also, look at this emotional picture I found of a gutter man and a mother cradling her child. Oh yeah, remember when I said that blood is fuel and the machines would do nothing else except ensure their survival no matter what stood in front of them? Yeah, also, in this universe, blood is the equivalent of a nickel-cadmium battery. If you don't know what that is, trust me, I didn't know either. It's basically what, they put into every device imaginable that still uses battery. In this universe, blood is the equivalent of battery, so I guess they both would coexist. Oh dang, my phone ran out of blood. Hey dude, can you come over real quick? I just got a surprise. Okay, I know this wouldn't happen because, it's inefficient or whatever. When I say implications, I mean lore that affects the universe in strange ways. Gabriel after one midlife crisis. On the topic of Gabriel is the most human thing in Ultrakill. By that I mean it can, change emotions, reasoning, amongst other things, just human things that are, definitely very natural, definitely has a lot of character development. Hear me out on this one. Does ChatGPT exist in this universe? We know it's in the future. They have, maybe futuristic tech. Well, yeah, I actually think ChatGPT exists in this universe, since humanity will end up trying to make everyday life easier and easier. I'm gonna be honest, if it's a war outside of my window and I can't even go outside and breathe the chemicals, you think I'm gonna go to a store? No, I'm gonna try making life as easy as possible, and that starts, with image generation, that starts with ordering stuff online, asking online. AI is a big part of that nowadays, unfortunately. But if you've noticed anything in this video yet, is the video isn't really meant to be anything more than a fun one-off Ultrakill video discussing, kind of shower thoughts. Fraud is releasing any day. Yes, any day. It could release tomorrow. Yeah, it could release tomorrow. And that's kind of surprising. I still think it will release on February 13th. Watch my fraud videos, which is not, now that video is, a little bit outdated, but also I've had this thumbnail for this video ever since October of last year, but I didn't really think of a video idea that could work with this. Also, my question is, what did V1 even do before coming to Hell? And before some of you smug Ultrakill professionals type in the comments down below, I know that he fought in the final war for humans or whatever, but I mean, did he ever just stop or do something else, or has he been ever since the day of his creation, every day in battle? Does V1 ever take breaks? Because I think it would be in his programming not just to fight, but to take a few days to recover, because especially heavy infantry equipment. I mean, this guy's pretty light, but basically machines kind of need a cooldown, because if you leave your PC or laptop running forever, it's gonna heat up, and that's gonna cause erosion. So what does it do? Because it has to take breaks. It can't just be constantly pumping out shot after shot after shot and just running across the field. It has to take some type of break. Does it just sit at the wall and punch the wall or something because he's still in combat mode? Well, what does V1 even do when he's on breaks? And I know some of you guys will still comment down below, oh, he doesn't take breaks, he's always in action. Just stop trying to disprove what has already been disproven. This video isn't meant to be a realism V1 just read books or something. Anyways, after humanity's downfall, V1 just literally blitzkrieged Prime Minos and Sisyphus. Also, what happens after treachery? Because, that's the last layer, and V1 is currently running down the layers, and since there's nothing below it, what will happen in treachery? I know this is something Hakita has to think about every time he goes to bed, but, what will happen in treachery? I know we're talking about fraud, but, we're talking about V1. What does he do? Because will there still be enemies? I know Hell is somewhat of an organism. It's not it's an actual being. And the whole point of Hell is that V1 will keep fighting these people stuck in Hell, because V1 needs blood and it's programmed to do nothing else. And Hell wants to, torture its victims that are down there. But does it ever have an end? Does after 500 years of sustained fighting, will V1 just continue? Again, this goes back to the point. Does he take breaks? Does he take smoke breaks or something? Because I think fighting for 500 years, that would make you're rusty, a little bit crusty. You might need some WD-40. But maybe V1 will fight Hell itself in a big battle in treachery. Just maybe, just one final battle. But this isn't the theory anymore. This is kind of speculation, and I'm kind of reaching now. Also, we know from the terminals that Hell can change programming. Hell can change machines, and yeah, the terminals display weapons and the enemies the enemies that you can fight, and switching weapons. That's not that's not lore specific. That's not canon. Just yeah, hey, here's the people you will be fighting. No. But Hell itself can corrupt technology, especially V1. But this leads me to believe that Hell is just keeping V1 alive, but also torturing the ones that are trapped. Hell wants this. This is the purpose of Hell. And V1, unless he, I don't know, gets morals or something, gets a brain implanted, V1 will never stop trying to fight. Even if he's almost gone, one part only in the arm, he will still keep fighting as long as the programming allows for it to happen. And yeah, V1 having thoughts and whatever, I know, that's really unrealistic, and I don't want that to happen. Again, these are kind of shadow thoughts. These are not oh, this will happen. These are what if it did happen? That's what I'm trying to say with this. What if it did happen? What if V1 at the end of Treachery, turned back. Like, there was gonna be a big battle with Hell, and then V1 just turned back or something, and maybe, like, I don't know, ate s'mores with Gabriel or something. I don't know. If anything, Hell, yes, Hell itself, could easily let V1 perish. But it doesn't. Hell knows what it benefits from having V1 alive. V1 does Hell's job, and Hell is entertained by V1's job. The sad part is that these machines were created to fight in a war that no longer exists. Their creators have been long gone. These wars have been devastating, horrible. But these machines were not programmed to do anything else. And they will keep fighting. And they will keep fighting for all eternity. For a war that has long been lost already. On both sides. Oh yeah, and if you made it this far into the video, I know, I don't want to keep saying this, but I know someone is going to misunderstand it. Don't take everything I say in this video so seriously. I had a fun time making this, but putting so much logic into this would just ruin it, in my opinion. It would completely ruin it. Every argument, not argument, but every point I made would just like easily get disproved and, you know, ignored, and it's like, it's not fun anymore. Oh yeah, and if I did end up making some mistakes, tell me. Like, I genuinely want to improve. I want to make more Ultrakill content, and right now I'm going to probably focus on War of Dots, since as you've probably noticed, a lot of people watch my War of Dots videos. Also, if I could get 500 subscribers before March, I would be eternally grateful. But anyways, I've been yapping on for too long. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this short video, more of a ramble video, but it is what it is, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.